Now, in the third para, what does the writer say? It was evening. The garden hedge was all aflower. The fair maid came out and said, I will hire you with a smile. Her smile, her smile paled and melted into tears, and she she went back home alone in the dark. Now here, what is the writer trying to say? That it was evening now. The first para we saw that the morning, what happened? And then it was midday, he was still trying to look for a job. In the morning, what we saw? That when he was crying for somebody to hire him, the king came in his chariot and he wanted to, what did the king want to do? The king wanted to hire him. He said that he would give him his power, but the man did not accept. And the king left with his chariot. In the second para, in the midday, what happened? As he was wandering around the lanes, the curved lanes, an old man came out of the house and he offered him a bag of gold coins and asked him to work for him. But here the man denied again and he left. He didn't want the bag of gold coins. Now we will see what happened in the third para. In the third para, it was evening already. The garden hedge was all aflower. Now what is an edge? A barrier of bushes. Edge is the barrier of bushes. Was all aflower. The fair maid came out and said, now here there was a, here by the edge in the evening, what happened? They came across a garden. A garden edge was all aflower. Okay, so edge means a barrier of bushes. Edge. B-G-E. Edge. Edge is a barrier of bushes. Of a barrier of bushes. Now here the fair maid, she came and she hired him. She was trying to hire him. She said that I will hire you with my smile. And then when he saw her smile paled off and melted into tears, and she went away and she disappeared in the darkness. Now in the fourth para, the sun glistened on the sand and the sea waves broke wavedly. A child sat playing with shells. He raised his head and seemed to know me and said, I hire you with nothing. From then henceforth, that bargain struck in child's play made me a free man. So here what is the writer trying to tell us? He's saying that as the sun glistened, now when does the sun glisten? In the previous para we saw that it was evening already. And now the sun glistened on the sand. It was about sunset, right? It was about sunset. It was already becoming dark. The sea waves broke wavedly. Means it was already becoming high tide and the waves started rising higher and higher. That is why they say wavedly. What is wavedly? It means disobediently. Now all day the waves are nice, they are calm, slowly they come. But then what happens? In the evening it is high tide. In the daytime it is low tide. But in the evening as the sun sets it becomes high tide. And when it becomes high tide the waves become bigger and bigger. Okay. So here the waves broke wavedly. A child sat playing with shells. Now as by sunset, it was, what do you call sunset? What is the other word for sunset? Twilight. We also call it twilight. We call it evening. We call it sunset. Right. So, he saw, as he was walking by, because it was already getting sunset now, he was walking by and he saw a child who was playing just with shells. You know, kids play on the shore, right? So this child was playing with shells and he was looking at this child. Now, this child, he raised his head and seemed to know me. Now, this child, when he looked up at him, probably the child smiled, and the man felt that probably the child knew him. So now here the child is saying, I will hire you with nothing. So the child did not have anything to pay the man. Right? The previous people had something to pay. But here the child doesn't have nothing to pay him. From then henceforth, that bargain struck in child's play, made me a free man. So now the child is saying he doesn't have anything to pay. So when you don't pay, there is give, there is take, right? As I said. So when you don't pay, then what will you get? So the man felt that if I am doing something for him, that means it is out of my own free will, because the child did not have any money to pay, right? So it was his own free will that he would help the child, because the child didn't have anything. So, and it was the man's decision now whether he wanted to work, he didn't want to work, right? So he had his own freedom. That is what he was saying. So now here, what is it saying? Now what Tagore is saying? Tagore is trying to, he's not talking about material things here, right? He's trying to, what is he trying to? He's trying to explain here, not with material things, with immaterial things like happiness, love, right? Wishes, well wishes, friends. When we are in our life, we have friends, we wish good for others, we have family, we have love, right? Everything is not done for money. Family is not for money, right? They love us, they care for us. That is why they take care of us, right? So that is what Rabindranath Tagore is trying to tell us, that there are so many relationships where money doesn't count. We do something for somebody out of love, out of friendship, right? It's not always that you have to pay and take and give, right? So this is the way the poet is trying to explain this poem. And he also says that always money is not everything. People also want love, they want friendship, they want freedom, right? This is what the poet is trying to explain. Now, who is the poet? Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, kids? Now, here I complete the poem, and this will be included for the exam, the second terminal. Okay, now here you have to please read through the poem and write the meanings and the question answers. The question answers I will give you. You also try to write these answers in your own words in the rough book. Okay, and here now we come to question 1. Who is the poet of the last bargain? Okay, very easy, huh? Who is the poet of the last bargain? Right? Now, when it was midday, okay, when it was midday, who came and offered him a bag of gold coins? Who came and offered the man a bag of gold coins by the midday? Right? And the third question is, when the sun glistened, the poet found somebody playing, right? There was a young boy playing. Now, what did the boy offer him when he hired him? Right? When the boy said he would hire him, right? So how much did he pay him? These are the 3 questions, and please answer them and upload in the Google Classroom. Okay, children? Thank you. ये हो गया एक वीडियो. अभी इसका कितना आया टाइम? टाइम नहीं मालूम पड़ता इसमें, दिखता भी नहीं है. Hello children, good morning. Welcome back to the second video. Now today we are going to do a little bit of grammar, little part of grammar, which is very important in the use of English. It is not considered as grammar, but it is a very important part of prose. So it is prose only. It is very important part of the language itself, right? So we will take page 73 where it says punctuation. Now children, when we talk, right, we use punctuation. We don't talk in a monotonous voice, right, not straight voice, where there is no, there can be no questions, no answers, no saying, no doing. Then it is not considered as a language. So here in punctuation, a punctuation marks what do we use when we are asking a question? What do we use? A question mark. When we are saying something, we use a full stop. When we are talking and in between where we try to pause, we put a comma, right? Single quotes, we use double quotes, apostrophes, right? So we use all this, and without this we need all this, and this is called punctuation, right? If we don't use these things, our language is incomplete. So here, punctuation shows the reader where sentences begin and end, right? Children, when we start a sentence, we start with a capital letter. And when we finish, very important children, when you finish, you have to put a full stop. Full stop indicates that the sentence is complete. Okay, now full stop is put immediately when the sentence is complete, not half a kilometer away. Okay, and when you don't put full stops, you don't go a little far away and put 3-4 points. No, some children do that, which is wrong. You have to put a full point when you complete the sentence, and only one, not 3 and 4. Okay, children. They also make the meaning of the text easier to understand. Now, if I write something and I apply a question mark, I put a question mark. When you read, what will you understand? Yes, Miss has given a question. Right. Now, if I write something and put an exclamation mark, yeah, you know it is a type of expression that I'm using. If I use a comma, you know that the sentence is incomplete and there is something more to complete. Right. So, we will see here. We have already learned these punctuation marks. So, children, please see page 73. Now, comma. Do you know what is a comma? Comma, full stop, colon. Now what is a colon? What is a colon, children? Colon is the two dots.